Blackhawks, it's Miss Pena.
And Miss Morales.
And we're from the counseling department, and we're super excited that you just finished your activity about emails.
So as counselors in the counseling department, we hear every day students that are asking us how they can do better, how they can be successful in your class. And so what we really want to stress upon you today is that the importance of staying informed. So even though we're in person this year, it's really, really important that you're utilizing the digital platforms that we offer here at La Quinta High School, such as your student email, your Google Classrooms, and Student View, in order to get the information that's important from your teachers, from the school, and from us over here in the counseling department.
Awesome. So the same questions that you asked yourself, we're wanting to do the same with your Google Classroom and with Student View. So last year, reflecting on last year, you can ask yourself, how often did I go onto my Google Classroom and how often did I go on Student View, aside for joining your classes? In addition to that, also thinking about where you want to be this year and going onto those platforms, and then asking yourself what steps you need to take to do so to meet that goal.
Awesome.
So when we're talking about joining our classroom, our Google Classroom, we have the basics. We know that there's the join code for every teacher, double checking that we're in the correct class with the correct teacher and period. And then accessing it through our waffle as our easy go-to. I think one big part is also remembering that sometimes there's things that we want to keep so you can archive and hold on to, or there's some information that we can delete and let go of and not be so overwhelmed with so much items on our Google Drive, including our Google Classrooms.
I think it's such a great idea, Ms. Pena, to archive those old classes. So for instance, if you're archiving math class from last year, and this year you are struggling to remember how to do something, you can always go back to that old Google Classroom to see some of the notes that you had from last year and some of the tips that your teacher had from last year as well. So make sure you don't delete them, guys. It could be a great reference.
Definitely. And especially since every year we have our English, our math, our science, and so forth. So those are definitely good keepers to kind of reflect on. Now, in regards to Google Classroom, what should you know about it? And we know that in every classroom, every teacher is going to utilize Google Classroom in some type of way, whether it's submitting your assignments, making announcements, any due dates. So it's really important this start of the school year that you learn what it is or how your teacher utilizes Google Classroom and what they expect from you when using it. One big tip from the counseling department is definitely check your Google Classrooms on a daily basis to see if there's anything, any information for the day, anything that you should know before going into your classroom. I know this year we're not going to be at a distance right now. We are in person. However, that doesn't mean all of these resources aren't as important. It definitely makes those interactions a lot more fruitful and definitely helps you on a day-to-day basis.
Thanks, Ms. Pena. Yeah, and just a side note, you guys all will have a Google Classroom for the counseling department with your own join code specific for information about your graduating class. So make sure if you haven't joined that you're doing that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Student View. And one of the questions we have is, what is important information inside Student View? Ms. Pena? Everything. You guys, all the information that's there can be used to your benefit. So we really want you to be able to log into Student View on a regular basis. We highly suggest at least once a week. Now you want to make sure, like Ms. Pena said, you're listening to your teachers and what their expectations are, because some teachers will utilize that Student View more than others. So at least once a week, and let us show you what you can find in there. So the first thing we're going to look at is just getting to know your account. This is an example of your home screen. And right now we're in summer and we're here in the counseling department. So there's not as much information. Normally you're going to see some messages here and some other data, but we want you to focus on that menu and all of the great resources that are available. So you'll see your picture, your student ID, and then you'll have access to the menu on the side. One of the key pieces on that, or tabs on that menu, is your gradebook. You guys, you can't be afraid to check your grades. You need to be informed. If you want to be successful, you can't be afraid to see what that grade is and know where you stand with your class. So please make sure you're checking your grades weekly. And when you pull them up, click on each individual classroom. When you do that, you're going to be able to see your test scores. You're going to be able to see your submitted assignments, if anything's missing. And it's important as a student that you take responsibility to make sure you're getting graded for everything you've submitted. Sometimes we overlook things. We leave it in our backpack. We think we turned it in. We leave it in Google Classroom and we forgot to hit submit. Or maybe just the teacher had a big stack of assignments to grade that day and they made a mistake. They're human. So it's your responsibility to make sure that, you know, the test scores are what you got, that the assignments are all graded and submitted. And it's a great way for you to know what you need to do for the next day. So make sure you're talking to your teachers too about any of those discrepancies. Go to them first so they can help you out. Another really great tab that you'll want to get to know is your course history tab. So Student View actually has all the information that your transcript has. So you can log into your course history and what you'll see is this student who's the class of 2023, where they are at in meeting their graduation requirements. So you can see they've met 57% of their electives, 50% of their English classes, and 100% of some of those other subject matters. So that's a great way to know what you still need to do. And of course, you can always ask your counselor. The other really nice thing is that your grade point average is on here. So you're going to see a few, and I highlighted at the top your state GPA. So those of you interested in attending a four-year college, that's the most important one you want to pay attention to. That's going to be your Cal State UC grade point average. So if you have any questions on that or want to know how you can calculate that, make sure you reach out to the counseling department and you come see your counselor.
Definitely. And I think when we think about the Cal Grant GPA, that's also going to highlight how much funding or your opportunities for funding when you apply for financial aid your senior year, whether you're going to the military, certificated, community college, 4-year, all of those, it's determined based off of that GPA. And definitely ask the counselors to see how that can support you or how we can support you. Awesome.
Thanks, Ms. Pena. Yeah, that's that Cal Grant GPA, you guys. That's the one that they utilize for financial aid. So that's just as important as well.
Perfect. So with that, just a reminder, make sure that you're checking your emails daily, make sure you're checking your Google Classrooms daily, and with the expectations that your teachers have with you with that classroom, and weekly for your student view. Bye, Blackhawks.